Okay, boys and girls, time for science. It is Wednesday. I need you to get your bird booklets out. We are on lesson 68 today. I want to talk about really quickly the few things we learned from our last science lesson. We learned that scientists that study birds are called ornithologists. That's right. We learned that when birds molt, what happens? They lose their feathers. That's right. We learned that when birds migrate, they go from one place to another, maybe to find warmer weather or to find food. Birds would migrate. We learned that a group of birds is called a flock, and that a baby bird is called a chick. Very good. I'm trying to think if there's, is the female bird or the male bird typically brighter, more dazzling in color? If you said male bird, you are correct. They must attract the female bird. So I always think that's super fun. Okay, I want to find out more about birds, and Landon, you will be thrilled to know we are going to find out how birds fly, how they move today. This was Landon's question, and I added it to our chart once he texted it to me. So I need you to turn to page 4 in your bird booklet. Follow along in paragraph 1 as I read. Birds move by flying, walking, running, hopping, climbing, or swimming. Not all birds can move in all of these ways. Now I need you to get your highlighter out, and I would like for you to highlight that sentence. Birds move by flying, running, walking, hopping, climbing, or swimming. Not all birds can move in all of these ways, so make sure you highlight that. After you've highlighted that, let's move to paragraph 2. We are going to find out how birds move through the air. Here you go, Landon. Almost all birds can fly. Birds fly by flapping their wings. Some birds also glide or soar through the air. When birds glide or soar, they use air currents to move, and they do not have to flap their wings. Only a few birds cannot fly. 2 birds that cannot fly are an ostrich and a penguin. All right, boys and girls, what do birds do to fly? What do they do to fly? Yes, they flap their wings. What are 2 words that we can use that describe how birds move through the air? There were 2 words they gave us. How they move through the air. They glide, or they can what? Soar through the air. Very good. Okay. How do birds glide or soar through the air? They use air currents. All of this is in that paragraph, boys and girls. Air currents occur when warm air near the ground rises. These warm air currents push the bird upward. This is called soaring. So I hope that answers your question, Landon. And hopefully now we can move how do they fly into the column what have we learned. When birds move through the air on currents without flapping their wings, they are gliding. They are gliding. I want you to get your highlighter out, and I want you to highlight the 4th sentence. When birds glide or soar, they use air currents to move and do not have to flap their wings. Highlight that sentence. If you need to pause the video, you can. When birds glide or soar, they use air currents to move and do not have to flap their wings. So boys and girls, a plane that glides through the air without an engine is called a glider, And many of you know how to make a paper airplane. If you make a paper airplane, you can pause the video and make one right now. And if you throw it in the air, you will see how it glides through the air, just like we're talking about. Now, boys and girls, do you remember the two birds that I said that cannot fly? One is an ostrich, and the other is a penguin. An ostrich and a penguin are the two birds that cannot fly. So I would like for you to highlight that last sentence. The two birds that cannot fly are an ostrich and a penguin. Highlight that sentence, please. Why do you think the ostrich and the penguin cannot fly? Think about it. Why do you think these two birds cannot fly? Look at them. Can you tell their bodies are too big for their small wings? They cannot fly because their wings are too small to lift their bodies. Let's find out how birds move on land. Follow along as I read paragraph 3. Almost all birds can move on land. Most birds move by walking or hopping. Some birds can run. The ostrich is a very fast runner. Only a few birds cannot walk or hop on land. Two birds that cannot walk or hop on land are the loon and the hummingbird. What are the three ways, boys and girls, that birds can move on land? The three ways that birds can move on land. They can walk, they can hop, or they can run. Which bird is a very, very fast runner? If you said ostrich, you are correct. The ostrich is a very fast bird. Why do you think the ostrich is a fast runner? If you look at the ostrich, why do you think he's a fast runner? Yes, because he has long legs. He has long legs, that's right. Now, what are the two birds that cannot walk or hop on land? Do you remember? The two birds that cannot walk or hop on land. If you said hummingbird, and if you said loon, you are correct. A hummingbird and a loon cannot hop or walk on land. I need you to highlight that sentence. It's the very last sentence. Two birds that cannot walk or hop are the loon and the hummingbird. The hummingbird's legs are far too small and weak to support its body for walking or hopping. How do you think the hummingbird moves around, boys and girls? How do you think the hummingbird moves around? By flapping its wings, yes. A loon's legs are too far in the back of its body to walk or hop on land. It can't balance. Its legs are too far in the back of its body. So how do you think the loon gets around? The loon swims. You are correct. The loon moves by swimming. A loon's legs help it swim long distances underwater. Let's find out about birds that move in water. Follow along as I read paragraph 4. Some birds can swim. Birds such as ducks and loons swim by moving their legs and feet. Other birds such as penguins also flap their wings to help them move through the water. What are some birds that swim, boys and girls? We know a loon. What's another bird that swims? Ducks swim. What about these? Do these swim? Do penguins swim? Yes. So ducks, loons, penguins, those are all birds that can swim. How do they swim, boys and girls? Yes, by moving their legs and feet in the water. What do penguins also use to help them move through the water? What do penguins use to help them move through the water? They also use their wings. Very good, boys and girls. So I'm wondering what you learned today that we could add to the L portion of our chart. I feel certain that many of you would say you learned the two birds that cannot fly. What are the two birds that cannot fly? What are the two birds? The ostrich and the penguin. Very good, boys and girls. Did you learn that there are two birds that cannot walk or move on land? Two birds that cannot walk or move on land. What were they? If you said the loon and the hummingbird, you are correct. They cannot walk or move on land because their legs, the hummingbird's legs are too weak and the loon's legs are too far in the back of their body. Landon, did we learn how birds fly? And the answer is by the air current. We learned about soaring today and gliding today. So much we have learned today. I would like for you to get out your lesson review, please, and complete that. Remember, it's an easy 100. You can look back on the paragraphs that we read today to answer those. All right, that was fun, guys.